Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about that big piece of the puzzle that is in the way of you truly claiming your authentic self and consistently living in that way. This may surprise you. Watch this video. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with us for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. Diving in. This is a big topic because so many people will get to a certain level of awakening and then they freak out because they're like, where's God? Why did this happen? Why wasn't I strong enough to keep myself? What's going on here? Why are these triggers triggering me back into my shame, triggering me back into whatever? Now, this is something I discovered on my own personal journey. And when I share this with clients who are going through their awakening process, which means coming back to the authentic self, right? Finding your spiritual identity, finding the truth of who you are, not in society where it was taken from you. See, what we have to understand first is society is what took your authentic self from you, whether it's wounded parents, teachers that don't understand you, societal rules that say if you don't measure up to this, you're not enough. Whatever it is, all these things knocked you down from your authentic self, right? So what we all do is we look to the place or person that took our authentic self from us, maybe unknowingly, to revalidate us. And this is where we go wrong. The people who took it away from us because of their own unhealed wounds or because they're lined up with society instead of spirit. And what I mean by that is, you guys have heard me talk often about, societal ideals versus spiritual laws. Societal ideals say these are the measures for success. These are the measures for beauty. These are the measures for intelligence. These are the measures for belonging. The universe, spirit, source, what I refer to as God, knew that there was nothing wrong with you when they created you. You were born perfect for your purpose. Society takes that away from you. Because in society, spiritual gifts are not a purpose, right? We create that outside of school. We're not taught spirituality, emotional intelligence. We're not taught any of this in school. So this is the essence of who we are. When we are a soul having a human experience and we're put into a world that's kind of robotic and controlled and strange and not authentic, we start to chip away and lose ourselves and feel like we can't be who we are. It's not safe. So the piece of the puzzle that's missing, I'll give you a little bit of my story because it really helps people when I don't talk about them. They can be more neutral about situations when I talk about myself and my own story. So my own story was I grew up with that label ADHD. So what I learned in society from a young age, don't forget my mother was also a school teacher, so it was also agreed upon by my family, is that there's something different about me that's wrong, that doesn't make you belong, that won't make you function at your highest level. I told the story on a reel the other day about how when I'm 7 and they diagnosed me, they told me you have a very high IQ, but your ADHD means you won't be able to achieve your potential. That's a hard thing to hear at 7 years old. But what I did with that is I said, well, I'm going to reach my highest potential. What that turned into was I'm going to live by higher laws because reaching my own highest potential meant perfectionism. It meant I was killing me. It wasn't working. So I had this beautiful awakening and shift into my spiritual self. That's another video. But for the point of this video, I was told that young. Now, with a lot of highly sensitive kids, with a lot of ADHD kids, with a lot of people that, let's say, function differently, are neurodiverse, but also just highly sensitive, we tend to have spiritual experiences really young. And I had my first awakening on my 16th birthday. And it was incredible because I realized who I was in God's eyes. I was at a youth group convention with 2,000 other kids, and I had an out-of-body experience, and I was talking to God, and I saw myself, and I saw my career that was going to be. I was only 16, and I saw what was supposed to happen, and when I started owning that, it happened. My vision became a reality, and I was having a lot of difficulty when I went back into the real world because I was being chipped away. I was feeling rejected. I was feeling left out. All those old things were coming back, especially in the career. I was a model, so the career, there's a lot of that. So to not see God in people and what was happening in the world was very confusing. I was seeing rejection. I was seeing these things that competition, jealousy, I was seeing these things that I did not understand. And so many, many years later, what I realized is the missing piece. I was looking to my parents and my authority figures to validate that the image I saw myself in God's eyes was correct. But when you're around parents who are unhealed or authority figures who have a lot of inner wounds, they can only see you from the reflection that they hold of themselves. They can only see through the mirror of their own healed self or wounded self. So I was looking for my true self, as all of you are, in the eyes of these authority figures to validate that I was right about what I thought God was telling me about me. Take that in. And what I realized is that I just couldn't see that pure image of myself. When I would go to these people, I would see it through my father and his wounding, through my mother and her wounding, through people who were jealous, through whatever. So I was constantly getting that authentic self chipped away at again. And it was confusing. Why would God have these people do this to me, right? We say this. Why would the universe? What we have to understand, let me skip through all this. This could be a really long video. And by the way, my course, Emotional Rehab, is where you learn this. You learn how to shift your identity into true self. You learn how to heal these emotional wounds. You learn how to understand these patterns. You learn how to end these toxic relationships of wrong mirroring. So that is enrolling now. We start March 1st with a huge discount. So please check this out. I created this course for this reason. So what I finally realized after I did a ton of spiritual work, a ton of emotional healing, a ton of inner child work, is that the issue to me maintaining that awakening was that I was looking to confirmation of it, to validation of it in the material world from the people that originally took it from me. I wanted to prove to them, see, God says I'm these things, right? And they're like, no, because that doesn't fit our narrative. That doesn't fit our role that we have for you. That doesn't fit our own issues of needing to be validated by invalidating you. So I was looking to the world and society and parents and all these places that were not healed for a validation of my true self. And that is not something you're going to find. The validation of your true self only comes from your personal relationship with Source, only comes from you looking at all the things you think are wrong with you or not enough or scary to own, and looking at where that idea came from, and looking at if you agree, and looking at these people as wounded humans, not gods. And that helps you lift up and say, oh my gosh, I might actually be healing my generational wounds by being that change. I might be owning this light that they don't want me to own because they don't even know what they're doing because they're so wounded. And in me owning that truth and owning that light and shining rather than hiding in the shadow, I am changing the generational wounds by being the truth of who I am around people that don't understand that yet. You have to understand the highly sensitive person is the teacher a lot of the time, but we're so invalidated in society that we don't realize that's the mission. To be the leader in a world that functions on a totally different way than soul and spirit. This is an ego-based reality that we live in, 3D. 5D is the higher self. To maintain that higher self in this world means you're going to be different. You're going to think different. You're not going to have them validate you to build up yourself. You have to go to God to build up yourself and then teach. That's a hard reality. It is the truth. Think about how many times you felt good and you went somewhere that you thought should validate it, that you thought should be the authority on it, and they weren't having it. This is very prevalent in narcissistic family systems, right? When you know yourself, but let's say your mom's a narcissist and she knocks you down. She has envy towards you. You can't understand it. You can't own your shine being around someone that literally won't let you be you. This is society. Society is a narcissistic system. You can't be your true, empowered, authentic self in this society because it's built to knock you down so you can be controlled. And so you need medication, and so you need liposuction, and so you need all these things that are not natural for you. I'll tell you a story, another story. I took Ritalin when I was 7 years old, on and off until I was 17. The day I graduated, I stopped taking it. I got straight A's in college, guys. I didn't have to take medication. I had to learn how to focus on things I wasn't interested in. I had to learn that I was more worthy than what they were telling me. I had to learn that I knew I had goals. I had to focus on those things, even if I didn't like it. What is ADD? ADHD is your attention style to a higher dimension. So when you really start to understand that you don't like the weird shit you're learning in school, you start to malfunction when you're around trauma. To be honest with you, any ADHD person I've ever met is really hyper-focused on the things that they like. So we have to train ourselves to focus on the things we don't. And that's another video that I'll be sharing. But this is my point. I didn't need that. Many people do. I'm not saying everybody doesn't. But for me, my path was understanding that my naturalness needed to find its natural environment. And when we find our natural environment, we become geniuses. What's that quote about, a fish isn't going to work in a forest, right? We need the natural environment for us. Highly sensitive people, this is not a natural environment. We are stuck in a 3D world. We are 5D people. We are 5-dimensional beings, right? We have spirit in there. So we're not going to feel like we make sense here. This isn't going to be our natural environment. So we have to bring our spirituality into our environment. I'm going to leave you there. There's many videos in there that I've just made up that I will be doing. But that is the point. We're going to the wrong place to validate the truth of who we are. Guys, if you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. You can always find me on Instagram, TikTok. You can always go to my website if you want to do my emotional rehab course with me. I will be there every single week to answer questions for you. The course is fully digital, though. You're not missing anything if you miss the live calls. It's just extra. So if you have questions, ask me about it. I love you guys. Please share this video with at least one person you think it could help, and I'll see you soon.